Let's talk very quickly about dyslexia and ethnicity. And before we do, let's just define our terms very, very quickly. When I say ethnicity in this instance, because when we use this term, the term is used differently in different contexts. But in this instance, what I mean is, for instance, I come from a white British background. My dad's side of the family, I don't know, way back when may have been Jewish. My mother's side of the family, way back when may have been Scottish. But for the last generation, 4 or 5 generations, my family would have been what you would call white British. There are people whose families are what you might call British Asian, or they may have come over from Nigeria or from Kenya, so there may be an African connection there. So when we talk about ethnicity, you might talk about the country that you're living in and the nationality that you have, but at the same time, there are issues such as, are you black, are you white, are you Asian, that kind of thing. So very quickly, just to define the terms, we talk about British Asian or something along those lines. This is an ethnicity issue. These issues come up again and again all around the world. So for instance, in America, we talk about African Americans, or we talk about Asian Americans, or we talk about First Nation Americans, that sort of thing. This, again, for America, is what I mean in this instance when I talk about ethnicity. So let's just very quickly look at some statistics. And these are quite eye-opening. In America, did you know that if you're white, your chances of being a proficient or an advanced reader are something like 12%. If you're from an Asian Pacific background, your chances of being an advanced reader at 4th grade are something like 20%. This is pretty decent chances. If, however, you're Hispanic, or you're black, or you're First Nation, your chances of being an advanced reader in 4th grade are around about 3 to 4%. I mean, that's huge. That's a big difference. And it's not because Hispanic, Black, and First Nation Americans are under intelligent. That's because of socioeconomic influences. And it's these influences that are really important when we're looking at dyslexia. So for instance, if you are white, your chances of being, as it were, below basic as a reader is something like, I don't know, 23%. If you are Asian Pacific, your chances of being below average or below basic as a reader are about 19%. If, however, you're Hispanic or Black or First Nation, your chances of being below basic are about 50%. Your chances of being an advanced reader are 3 or 4%. Your chances of being below basic are 50%. 50%. Let's now compare this with your chances of having special educational needs intervention. So, very, very quickly. If you are in the bottom 10 percentile of your subjects, all subjects at school, and you are from a Black or a Hispanic or a First Nation background, your chances of getting special educational needs intervention are below 50%, somewhere between 45 and 48%. If, on the other hand, you come from a white background and you're in the bottom 10 percentile, your chances of being given special educational needs intervention rise to a whopping 74%. So let's just put this into context. If you're Black or First Nation, for instance, your chances of being a below basic reader are 50%. Your chances of being given some intervention are below 50%. If you're white, your chances of being below basic are lower than 20%, and your chances of being given special educational needs intervention are about 3/4. That's big. It's a big difference. What does it mean? Well, it means a number of things. First of all, it means that those kids who are from Black or who are from Hispanic or who are from First Nation backgrounds are being failed socio-economically and politically. They are not being given the support they need. They come from backgrounds where education isn't working for them, and when education doesn't work for them, nobody steps in to help. On the other hand, if you're from a white background, your chances of education not working for you and you being below basic are significantly lower. And when that happens, you have a significantly raised chance of being given intervention. The gap widens. It also means something very specific and very significant, and this is that measuring numbers of dyslexic kids, it's all but impossible. How do you measure how many dyslexic kids there are if those kids being given special educational needs intervention are in the large part white kids, and the white kids are not struggling so much at school? What sort of framework do you use? What rubric do you use to measure who's genuinely in need of special educational needs intervention? If you're a First Nation American and you have a 50%, more than 50% chance of being below average at school, and it's not your fault, by the way, and you're given a less than 50% chance of being given intervention, well, there may be more proportionately First Nation American kids being given special educational needs intervention, but it's not hitting the ones who need it because not enough kids are being given that help. If you're white, brilliant, you're lucky, you get the intervention. We don't begrudge white kids the intervention. But if you're not, the chances of you being given the help you need, well, as you can see, 50% of 50% of kids are being failed.